Can Christians use tarot cards? Let's talk about it. We'll have that and our Sunday morning spread with our card reading for the week to come coming right up. Brian Noe with you from Cards of Light. Thank you for joining me again this week for our Sunday morning spread. We will have our card reading for the week to come in just a few moments. If you would please give this video a thumbs up when you get a chance. And if you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe to this channel so you'll get all of our content as soon as it comes out. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining us again this week. I really appreciate it. Okay, Christians and tarot cards, and specifically, can Christians read tarot? Is there a reason that they shouldn't? This is something that I did a video back in 2022 about. I'm going to share a short clip from that in a moment because I think that it pretty well covers the most important things that I'd like to say about it. I'm also going to link to a weblog that goes into some greater detail about this. That'll be in the description box here. But every now and then, I'm revisiting this because every now and then I'll get comments, either on videos or sometimes when I share something on Facebook, an old friend will get in touch and say, oh no, you shouldn't be messing with those cards. And they'll give me a chapter and verse from the Bible. It's usually from the book of Leviticus. It seems like that is a favorite for people who want to say don't use tarot cards for some reason, although tarot specifically is not mentioned anywhere in the Bible. But anyway, that's what prompted this. I'd gotten several comments on videos again lately, and I just wanted to revisit it and kind of let you know where I stand on it. So let's go to that video. This clip is fairly short, 3-4 minutes, and then we'll be back. So, as I mentioned Thursday, a friend of mine on Facebook had quoted some scripture to me saying, oh, you shouldn't be playing with tarot cards. And the scriptures were from the book of Leviticus. And if you look at that book in the Bible, there are prohibitions against all kinds of things. You can't wear blended clothing, fabrics. You can't eat animal fat. You can't glean to the edges of your fields. You can't harvest fruit from the ground, those sorts of things. All of these, prohibitions against eating shellfish, that kind of stuff. There's also, the Israelites must have been kind of randy folks because there's all kinds of sexual prohibitions. You can't sleep with your aunt. You can't sleep with a woman and with her daughter or granddaughter. And if you marry both of them, you should all be executed. I mean, there's just some really interesting stuff in that book. But what happens is people cherry pick. They tend to interpret these scriptures based on either what they have already been taught or what the conclusion they want to arrive at with them. So they'll say, oh, well, of course it's okay. We aren't bound by that rule about, not eating shrimp. But, oh, this rule, we are bound by. And so there's some discernment going on there, even for people that just say, nope, the Bible, this is what it says in the Bible, this is what we have to do. Most of the time, they're not obeying all of those rules. And yet there are certain rules that they say, oh, well, yeah, well, there's other context here. We need to take this in context. And yeah, even though there are some of these things we can ignore, there are some that we can't. And that is okay if that's the way people want to interpret things. And I think we all do that. But my point is we should be doing that. We should be looking at the context, looking at who these words were originally aimed at, the context of the times and all of that. And not just say, oh, well, the Bible says. I grew up in a Protestant Christian tradition. whose slogan was, "Where the Bible speaks, we speak, and where the Bible's silent, we're silent." Okay, good principle, I suppose. And yet they did all sorts of interpretation and discernment as well. As a Catholic Christian, we are taught that it is the Catholic Church that has the authority to interpret scriptures. And that is fine too. If someone is trying to abide by the teachings of their own faith, I have no problem with that at all. But I think that we have these minds for a reason. We're supposed to be paying attention, taking things serious, and using them to arrive at decisions that make sense for us in our lives and the way that we want to live. Okay, a little more information on this too that I didn't include in that video. There are examples of divination all through the Bible, Old Testament and New Testament. The priests in the Old Testament used devices called the Urim and Thummim. I think I'm pronouncing those correctly, to get answers to questions about what they should be doing, what the people should be doing. Joshua cast lots. King David used divination to try and discern the will of the Lord. And even in the New Testament, the apostles, when one of them was martyred, they cast lots to determine who would become the new apostle and replace that apostle. So divination, methods of trying to discern things that are kind of beyond what we would normally consider sort of natural ways of getting information, are not universally condemned. They're just condemned in situations that aren't sanctioned by whoever is kind of in control. So it's okay for leaders to use this, but you shouldn't. I think that we can use our own discernment on this, and that there are probably ways to use these cards, as there is with any powerful technology, that would maybe be dangerous or not helpful or even harmful. But I don't think that should bring about a universal condemnation of these practices. I think it matters how we use them, why we're using them, and kind of the spirit with which we approach the activity. If your church says no, you shouldn't use these cards, then it's up to you to decide whether or not you buy into that and whether or not you want to abide by that. I'll just say that my conscience is clear. I feel like the way that I use these cards is not either disrespectful to the Lord or in opposition to my understanding of what it means to be a follower of Jesus. So if you feel differently, I would love to hear from you. You can either go out to the weblog at atarotjourney.com, and you can find my email address there and get in touch that way, or you can leave comments here with the video. If you cite chapter and verse from the Bible, whether it's from Leviticus or from somewhere else, be prepared for me to respond to that. I'm someone that grew up learning my Bible, and so I'm not a scholar or anything like that, but I am very well familiar with the Judeo-Christian scriptures. And so if you want to engage in that conversation, that would be great. Be advised that it's not going to be as simple as you just citing a chapter and verse and that ending the matter. But I would love to hear from you. All right, all that being said, let's go to the table for our tarot card reading for the week. Okay, we're going to do a little 3-card energy reading for the week to come this week. And we have a really interesting spread here. We have 3 Cups cards, 3 pips, all from the suit of Cups this time around. We have the 4 of Cups, we have the 6 of Cups, and we have the Ace of Cups in this spread. So let's kind of take these one at a time here. This Four of Cups is the card of pleasure mixed with anxiety. Sometimes I think of it as fighting ennui. We have all of these cups being offered to us, but for some reason we're feeling dissatisfied with that. Cups, of course, the suit of the heart, the suit of emotions, the suit of relationships. And so this Four of Cups in that first position, this is the position of opening energies, maybe waning energies as we move on through the week. But we have got something going on here that we should maybe be happy with, but we're just feeling a sense of restlessness or anxiety about it for some reason. But as we move through the week, we get to the Six of Cups in the middle. And this is the cup of happy memories, nostalgia, kind of maybe revisiting the past in some ways, but just an idyllic sort of energy going on here. Well-being, harmony, ease, satisfaction, all of that kind of stuff. Sometimes this can be a card about fulfilling relationship goals or harmony in our relationships. And so it is a really auspicious card here in this second position as being the predominant energy throughout the week. And then we get over here to this Ace of Cups, kind of in emerging energies as the week goes on. And this is about pleasure, beauty, happiness, productivity, all good things. It can also be maybe the stirring of new emotions of some sort as we get towards the end of the week. I would say the picture altogether, though, for this week is really auspicious. It's really going to focus on our feelings, our emotions, and our relationships. Though I would say if there is any advice in these cards for this week, it's to keep an open heart and to try to look at whatever comes our way through that lens of soft, lush, relaxed, pleasurable experiences. To the extent that we can, if we can just keep an open heart and view things lovingly, that would be a wise thing to do. I'd love to hear from you if this is resonating with you in some way. Feel free to get in touch either through the weblog or leave comments here with the video. And looking forward to seeing how this week plays out. Thank you for joining me again this week. We will be back soon with another episode. In the meantime, I wish you peace. Take care of yourself.